stuff. And today is the 18th of January, 2024. Happy New Year. We haven't been here since early December or so. Want to wish a Happy New Year. My name is Rick Prescott.
There you go.
And I'm Mike Ruppler.
And I'm Jason Hertha. And if you like what you hear, please follow us on Apple, Twitch, Spotify, YouTube. Also, check the hit the subscribe button for the algorithms to also like the channel. Bell notification, like button, and we want to thank our producers, 216 The Net, Kent Jones behind the camera. You want to clap there?
And if you take a look at the surroundings here, take a look at the background, we're in a new studio. And so we moved from McHenry over to Crystal Lake. We're in Illinois and got this awesome studio here. So this is first time using it. So this could be quite an experience.
Yep, pretty excited. In conjunction with Piano Trends here in Crystal Lake. So this is called The Streets, co-partnered with Piano Trends, which is really, really cool. So, and
It's been around for years.
Yeah, as you guys are sitting like at a piano, so
Yep.
it's good.
And ladies and gentlemen, behind us here, that's the producers and so forth, is Kent Jones. And we also have Drew Castasio.
Make
Make it easy. Cappuccino.
I got 5 fingers, but I only use 3. What movie is that for?
Well, here we got a piano, and where's the bar?
Yeah, no kidding.
We need someone to play a tune.
And a nice looking lady in a tight dress singing.
Yeah, your wife would turn around.
That she would kill me.
Oh, actually, she turned around and say, "Go ahead, go on, buddy."
No, we'll have you.
Yeah,
We'll have you in the green shorts and all that stuff, the real high ones.
Oh yeah, my Spanish.
Anyway, that's for another show. So.
So for today's show, we're going to talk about the American Veterans Alliance.
Wow.
It's also known as the AVA. It's a new non-for-profit, and the concept is that the McHenry County Marine Corps League, the American Legion, and the VFW in Woodstock do not actually have their own home. For multiple reasons, the veterans lost the location they were at, and so this concept of the AVA is to do a fundraiser to raise enough money to get a new home. So by having a not-for-profit, there's a lot more advantages that it affords because it's a 501c3, while the veterans groups are limited because they're either a C19 or a C4, which most corporations won't provide donations to. So that's what the concept is. Rick and Jason and myself have been involved with them since last summer, so we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
When's the fundraiser for this for the AVA?
So we'll do our shameless plug. We're going to be at 240 North Throop Street in Woodstock. We're going to host a Super Bowl fundraiser. So we're going to have some stuff on a website where people can order squares for those who live too far to come. And for those who do come, we're going to do probably silent auction, 50/50s plus squares to raise money. If people don't know where it's at, it's the old VFW post. The owner of it that's there has agreed to let us use it for that day.
Yeah.
I think that place will always be known as the VFW.
Yeah, well, it will be because it's like the 40s. It's been that way.
It could be called something else, like VFW.
Well, it's been a VFW for decades.
Yeah.
So
Smells
now,
like a 2 in there, so.
Exactly. But you know what, though? The American Veterans Alliance is an opportunity for veterans groups in the area that don't have their own facility to establish their own home.
Why is that important?
Well, you know what? It's important for a lot of reasons, I suppose, and it was a very good question, Kent. Without a home, you're dependent upon other sources for a place to have your meetings, for a place to hang up your plaques, your history, and your charters and things like this. And it's also a place that you can't do what you need to do in order to support and service or provide a service to veterans in the local area or anywhere for that matter. So you're dependent upon other facilities for everything. And those other facilities, they can come up with a certain type of plan. Hey, we're going to have a meeting tonight, and here we are in our meeting, and right across the room we hear a politician talking or something, or someone else having a presentation, and it overrides our meeting sort of thing. So we don't have total control over our environment.
Well, and the other problem too, more importantly, is that veterans need to deal with other veterans for resources. If somebody walks into the unemployment office, for example, it's almost like you go up there and they ask if you're a veteran. As soon as you say you're a veteran, that worker behind the counter there
Right.
is almost like, oh my God, it's a vet. He's got PTSD or she got PTSD.
Exactly.
Where's the vet rep? They got to talk to, and it's unemployment related. You know, talk to them like a regular person.
Yeah.
So having our own facility gives them a place where we can get things sorted out and provide the resources with people that understand them.
What I like about having your own facility is that it provides a place where veterans can feel safe. They can speak their own language, and what, as you just started off by saying, is that veterans assist and service veterans, probably better than most because of those perceptions or misperceptions on the part of the general public pertaining to veterans.
Well,
So they can give them a good direction and provide them the service that they need.
I don't know if it's. I think everybody appreciates veterans. I think what they don't understand, what the general public like me doesn't understand, but I've learned a little bit through you guys, is the brotherhood, the sisterhood. I have never been in a foxhole, right? Making sure that Jason's got my six, right?
Oh boy.
You understand? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And what I've been learning, is doing some research, and because of this great show, is that when y'all come back into quote unquote civilian life, you veterans really miss that bond. I guess I don't know if it's a bond or what it is, right?
You know what? It truly is a bond. There's a level of understanding that veterans have toward one another that other people can't relate, primarily because of the lack of experience that the veterans have that is very unique.
Yeah.
So, having said that, this is what I'm talking about, those services. And Mike just alluded to it, where if you have a civilian, they just automatically assume that, oh my God, we got a veteran looking for a job, and we've got to call a counselor in here because he's got PTSD, and how can I get him a job?
Right.
And I'm thinking wait a minute. From a veteran's perspective, many of us hold true that, hey, even those guys that have PTSD, those attributes can be attributes. Truck drivers, for example, are less likely to have a vehicle accident going down a road because they have a habit of looking for IEDs or something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't
and
think
they
about that.
tend to have less motor vehicle collisions because they're far more careful than the average civilian driver that just went to driver's school fresh out of high school.
Well, they're also very.
So it's just an example.
Yeah.
So, well, with that too, it boils down to the awareness factor.
Yes.
And I can only speak, from my experience with, as a combat veteran. The bond when you're in, it's pretty tight, but when you get out, that's when that stuff actually shines, because
Right.
then you, like, for me, for example, I got in, I was basically, punk
Punk off the
teenager.
street.
Sure.
Yeah, basically like that. I
They all were.
Right.
Yeah,
I knew I needed a swift kick in the pants, so I'm like, that's not my phone.
Did you want to share that conversation with us?
Yeah.
That's
We have a live caller.
JP right there.
Live, you're on the air.
I remember I had my cell phone on
One of
one
your
time when
problems.
I was in formation, and then my staff sergeant heard that stuff and
Yeah.
gave me a good reaming afterwards. It was like, what the fuck? But
Yeah.
anyway, so when you get out, that stuff actually shines, because then you don't have all these pressures going on. And, if you choose to mature, because there are a lot of veterans that don't want to mature because they just want to stay in that,
Yeah.
kind of, I'm not saying it stuns your growth, but the mature factor, like, you go from one extreme to another, and there's no time for your mind to like fully develop, because your brain is still developing in the early stages of your 20s and
Right.
all that stuff, and you give them a freaking gun and all that stuff. but-
We're jumping into the weeds here a little bit, but let me put it like this.
Yeah.
A veteran, 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, 21-year-old kid, an officer that joins the military as a result of his college degree, etc. What ends up happening during that enlistment is that they have a pile of opportunities, a pile of experiences that the people in the normal civilian community simply don't have. Imagine, for example, a 21-year-old kid that's been in since he was 18 years old, and he becomes a sergeant or even a corporal. Next thing you know, he's in charge of people. He or she
Right.
are in charge of people, and they are in charge of multi-million dollars worth of equipment, and they're in charge of planning and staging and beans, bullets, and bandages, and so on.
Right.
They're in charge of all. Imagine now a kid getting fresh out of high school and then goes directly into university and comes out at 22, 23 years old, and they don't have all of those experiences. The military tends to be a university of life. And on top of that, it generally generates an individual that has a higher degree of tolerance toward others, because they've not only done all these things, but they did these things with a diversified system of people,
Yeah.
places, and things. They've been exposed to cultures. They worked with Samoans, and before they went into this university
Scout
called
cookies?
military, they'd never even heard of a Samoan.
Samoas or Samoans?
Samoan.
I got into a fight with
Samoa.
I got into a fight with a Samoan one time.
Well, see, that's another experience.
Awful.
And that was a learning
4
experience.
times my size.
Right?
You don't get in a battle with a Samoan.
And they don't get hurt.
No, they don't.
But you meet Cubans, you meet people from Russia, you meet people from Europe and Brits and so forth, and Filipinos and Japanese and Chinese, and you go like, wow, they become far more tolerant, and they had this exposure to these various cultures, and they're going, wow, they come back home, they are enriched. And Mike, I think you gave an example in terms of the benefits of being a veteran when you got a job at a warehouse, I think it was. You want to tell that little story about, how you...
Well, I've actually had a few of them. My first job out was at a cast iron plant. And I went in there for the interview, and it was a Marine major in the reserves. He came around, had a son that had one of these cell phone companies when it was brand new. And he gave me 4 different names, and I shotgunned all 40 companies. And I had a company call up, and he says, "We're not hiring right now, but I think we need to talk to you." So I went in there, talked to the VP of HR, and next thing you know, I'm talking to some plant manager. My job description changed 3 times in 3 days. And as soon as I got to one position, it was had to do with production control. They were like 6 to 8 weeks behind getting customer stuff going, and machine shop people, they're structured on how they're going to do it this way, and of course you got the people that make the melt deck, that makes the bars and everything else, and it's like, this can be better. And what it was is that as a Marine, you kind of look at it, and it's like, hey, what's the problem? Well, it takes 4 hours to change a setup for a machine, like a grinder.
Right.
So they need 20 for a customer, then they'll run those bars for that customer, and then they'll change over. I says, oh, stop. After I turn around and watch, I says, how about if you go ahead and run it for 12 hours, make a bunch of material, and then change over. You're spending 4 hours to fix the machine anyway, so why not run it longer, get some stock, and get some inventory up before you flip over? Well, within a matter of 6 weeks, we became on-time delivery. The other warehouse...
Problem solving.
Right.
You see a challenge, you see a solution, and you implement it. And the reason they were doing that over and over and over again is because that's the way we always did it. And that's the way civilians tend to think.
They were knee-jerking the situation. And then the other job that I had a brother-in-law who happened to be our paymaster for the detachment, kept on bothering me for 6 months to go work at this warehouse that had fitness products, spry products. And he's like, come on, work here. And of course, I had my flag business then. And of course, now I'm getting ready with my slow season in October. I'm like, what the heck? Let me go check it out. If it doesn't work out, not a big deal, because by the time February comes, I'm going to be back in the flag business again, because by then everyone's flags all tore up from the snowstorms and crap. So I went in there, and I found out that there's 24 people interviewing for the position. And of course, me being a Marine, they called up. I got the first call and said, wouldn't you like to come in? I says, 8 o'clock in the morning is fine with me. So I was the first one. They did 4 interviews, and they canceled the rest, brought me in, made an offer. Awesome. Well, everybody else had a lot more experience than I had dealing with trucks and warehousing and everything else. The problem is the owner of the company used to work as a probation officer, so he had a soft heart for people that had criminal records. And they had 25 people, and they couldn't get anything out on time if their life depended on it. I think we were looking for the drill instructor aspect, but we finally, when the company got sold 3 years later, we were down to 15 employees, and we were able to ship more stuff than we had when we had 25 people.
So again, the veteran experience, the experience that acquired as a result of becoming up to a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps, okay, that entails a lifetime of experience,
Yeah.
20 years worth. And the next thing you know, you're able to go into a company and see their issues, resolve it, because you're doing that all the time for the last 20 years
Well-
and managing people.
Yeah.
Well, and going back to the American Veterans Alliance, is
There you
that
go.
the thing is, the military works in a black and white world. Contrary to the politicians and the media and all this other crap that's going on in our country right now, it's either right or it's wrong. When you get with the politicians and media, everything else, they got all this gray area that people don't know what is right or wrong. So if you need some type of assistance, whether it's medical treatment or a job or housing or anything else, they don't have time for you to turn around and give them smoke up their tail end because you really don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
The veteran wants, the facts, what's
Yeah.
right or what's wrong.
So Alyssa, as she asks, do you guys feel like you have better productivity when things are crazy versus when they're calm?
Depends.
Yeah.
So, for example,
Go ahead.
yeah. So, for example, for me, when I went to culinary school and then got out and did my food truck style business, the culinary realm is highly unpredictable. So you got to be willing to adapt, overcome all that
Yeah.
stuff. So when the shite hits the fan, I feel that due to the skills and training that I unconsciously learned, because that's all we did unknowingly,
Yeah.
Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. The kid didn't realize what the hell he was doing until Miyagi's like, hey, wax on, cook. And then it's unconsciously programmed in him as a second nature. So
Yeah.
those skills, when things hit the fan, you're able to self-regulate, and you are used to these high pressure situations. Now, I can't speak on behalf of everybody in the military, but when you're getting shot at, as a combat vet and stuff, like the simplest of mundane tasks will turn into like a essay that you have to write when you're getting, your first IED or your first firefight and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And that's hyper adrenaline going on. So, yeah, I feel that I'm very productive in those sorts of things, but also when someone has like, some downtime or whatever, and especially when they get out, they may unconsciously miss that rush, even though it was frightening to them. They need to fill some sort of void going on. So that's where backtracking when you get out, go to the right resources to start unwinding all that stuff. And then kind of backtracking when it comes to patience, it depends too. The vets, a lot of the times, will have patience towards other veterans. Now, when it comes to patience with
Idiots
civilians
like me.
sometimes
Yeah.
and stuff, like, why are you not moving fast enough? Why is this so hard for you? Why is this? Why is that? Blah, blah, blah. A lot of the patience goes right out the window, and then also leads to drinking and all this stuff. And it's like, well, you're out in the civilian world now. Now you gotta, you gotta play the game. You gotta tone that down. There's no gunshots firing at you. You don't have the sergeant major up your ass or any type of stuff or this or that. Chill out a
That
little
kind
bit.
of.
But
Well,
So-
one thing too, if I might add to
Yeah.
to Jason's awesome analysis, by the way,
Yeah, it was awesome.
is to answer your question, Alyssa, is that from the military point of view, and this is what we experience in the military, we run into situations all the time where the situation just turns into chaos. And what we tend to find is that there's patterns in chaos. We find conclusions. We find direction in chaos, whereas other people will simply fall apart. We have a concept, situation, mission, execution. We have these concepts that are built in our mindset because of our training and experience. And all of a sudden, out of that chaos, we get focused. What is the mission? We're getting lost over here. We're getting lost over there. What is the mission? Let's get focused. Let's get back on task. And then that's what they tend to do is find those. If you need to alter plan A to a plan B, well, they have a plan A and they have a plan B. and first thing we learned, as soon as the first shot's fired, plan A is out the window. So now all of a sudden you're
usually
doing
is.
things on the fly, you're making adjustments, and we know how to do that really well. And because of those patterns that we see
Yeah.
in chaos.
And that's what the Veterans Alliance you guys are forming is. It gives people a space that camaraderie that hey, I don't have to deal with the slow civilians
Well,
and
let me kind of, the building, the thing is, I always tell people is that a veterans organization does not get new members by sitting in a meeting and doing a meeting.
Yeah.
Right. It's four walls, and four walls is like a fort. If you're not invited in, then they're not coming in, and that's why for example, we're fortunate we got Toys for Tots. We do color guards. We do funerals. We're out there, and of all the veterans groups in McHenry County, I think the two most popular veterans groups is between us and the McHenry VFW. Well, McHenry VFW, they're popular because of the Queen of Hearts.
that put them on the map. Yeah.
Right. But other than that, when we go to places, certain towns, we're always the first ones to do the color guard because they know that it's going to look good for the community. So the Veterans Alliance is not only for the veterans to have their meetings, because you got about 740 hours in a month.
Yeah.
And to have a meeting, own a building for 3 hours roughly of use is ridiculous. So the concept is really to expand beyond the regular meetings that they have to pay attention to finance and make plans and things of that sort, but also have things where their families can come, family events, group fundraisers, collaboration between the groups, inviting like the VA or the VAC or Veterans Path to Hope, hosting events where it causes a reason for the veteran and their families, that's the key, and their families come in and do stuff. Now, will we expand from there? Depends on how much we raise, and it also depends on what facility we actually buy. We're toying that if it's big enough, maybe we'll have a museum. If it's a big property, maybe we'll have some military equipment outside. It's the sky's the limit. It all depends on what we have. But the bottom line is that there's roughly 15,000 veterans in McHenry County as an example. So whoever's listening, you go back to your county and they're going to know. When I was the chairman for the VAC, Veterans Assistance Commission for McHenry County, we had 22,000 vets. So don't let you think that 7,000 died in the last 20 years. That's not the case. They all moved.
Oh,
So, but your turn, huh? So anyway, 15,000 vets, and I'm going to hang around and give a guesstimate that there's probably less than 2,000 that are actually in a veterans organization in the county.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to go to when you were working, I always bother you all the time and show up unexpected and shit. So
Yeah.
and shoot debris.
I think this is brilliant for a couple of reasons. Number one of the biggest things about being in a familiar space for so long and coming out of it, even if you're an older vet, right? You still have those patterns, that training that kind of sticks with you. And then being around the familiar ground with other people who have been through that, regardless if you were in the kitchen in the military or if you were a combat vet or, if you were a gunner on the back of a Humvee or something in any kind of space in the military, the training it brings that brotherhood together. So I think one of the biggest things that you guys are creating is purpose. So there's a purpose for not only when these vets come in, they feel like they're around their brethren and they also have that purpose. And now they can also have that outside life, which kind of knocks down that wall a little bit, right?
Well, if I might compare all of the veterans groups, I'm going to encourage every veteran out there to become a member of something.
Sure.
The American Legion, the VFW, or Marine Corps League, or whatever. Become a member of that. Why? Because you just described it. There's that camaraderie. There's that the commonality of experiences and so forth that make them doers in our community and so forth. The VFW has its mission and it has its cultural element, Like we just mentioned, the Queen of Hearts, for example. That's a primary goal there. And it's a place where veterans can get together, have a meal, have a beer, and have meetings. Well, you know what? We're looking at this American Veterans Alliance thing as tweaking it up just a little bit here. Okay?
Oh, no, we're tweaking it up, way up.
Well, let me, I don't want to exaggerate. Veterans Alliance right now is a building. It is a facility upon which multiple veterans organizations that have a mutual agreement of understanding between them, okay, that meaning that the Marine Corps League retains its culture. You don't tell us what to do, we don't tell you what to do. We have our own charter, we blah, blah, blah. The VFW has its own, and the American Legion has its own. So, but we're sharing the same building on 3 separate occasions so we can have our meetings. Hey, but that's wonderful.
It's like the UN.
Because it's well, you know what? But now let's tweak it up a little bit, okay? Now we're gonna do the smoke dope and kumbaya moment. We look at this facility.
Well, who calls it dope
And I would
anymore?
never encourage that.
Such a boomer.
Was that grass in your day? I mean,
All right.
Groovy.
So let's have that kumbaya moment where what we envision this to be is not just simply a building. There's a pile of need out there with respect to veterans that don't necessarily join these other organizations because of the limitations that they provide in reference to their specific mission goals. This one here is going to be tweaked. We're going to join up. We're going to link up with other services, service-oriented organizations. We're going to link up with the other veterans groups that don't have their own building, like the bikers out there. They meet in homes and bars. We're going to link up with other service organizations, even with respect to the VA. And hey, listen, VA counselor, if you want to have that circle of chairs and you want to have a meeting with somebody to talk about their military experiences and to assist them in whatever needs they might have, I'm trying to avoid the PTSD stigma again.
Sure.
But whatever counseling services you might provide, whether it be funeral services, education, or planning for finances, etc., here's a place where you can do so. Feel free. And on top of that, involve our families as well. So that's where I'm coming from.
So
And this is where
but here-
we're going with
Here's
this.
some of the other stuff too, is that we got 4 individuals in our organization. We got Jeff that works for Exemplar, does financial services.
Yep.
We got Andy Ferrara who does insurance. And we got Ray Andresen who does vacuum services for the Department of Transportation. And we got Jason who's got, he's barbecue chef, Semper Fi chef.
I'm going to start saying that he doesn't have a food because I haven't tasted his food yet. How long have we known each other?
It's that good.
It's that good.
But he never shows up, right? He never comes out to play.
You
But-
don't bring it here.
But to go around and the thing is, we're working with 4 of our members to help promote their business. So what we've done with all this business development for them is now we're creating business development because we found last summer that we had a specific sense of urgency to go and chase after a building. So that way, it's like having a flagpole. If they don't know where the flag's at, where do they know to rally around? Well, Woodstock doesn't have that right now, and we're bringing that in to do that. That way, they know where they're at. I won't name the town that we're in,
But
but
the initials are.
but the thing is, if you turn around and ask about those veterans organizations in the town, nobody can really tell you where they meet, because it might be in an office space, it
Right.
might be in a restaurant. One organization, it seems like every time they turn around, they're going to a different restaurant. So they don't have, if you meet somebody today, a year from now, you may not be meeting at the same spot. So how are they ever going to come home? So the concept is pretty, it's broad, and we'll focus it as we go along. But the idea is to make every veteran succeed, and their families are participating.
I would say one of the biggest things too for any veteran organization, and I barely see any of it at all. I've heard of it where, you get the whole PTSD thing. Where are the support groups at? And not just run by civilians and stuff, but like straight up veterans and all that. So, for example, good example, 12-step AA program, which I'm a member of and stuff. and it's worked wonders in my life. They said that there was one that was in the McHenry County area. I went there, not one vet showed up to that meeting at all, and it was in a facility that housed veterans. I'm like, why are you not in there? You know, if you think you could battle alcoholism and drug addiction on your own, you are deathly mistaken, like literally deathly mistaken. So I definitely envision with this AVA stuff is to even have 12-step meetings, whether it's AA, NA, or even,
Right.
you know, they got Emotions Anonymous and all that stuff, which can tie right into someone's, you know, PTSD, all that stuff. They're great meetings, and have it specifically towards either, you know, this type of veteran, that type of veteran, or just veterans in general. But the thing too is that we also got to make sure that, what is that term? Well, kind of one-upping. Not really a big fan of that stuff.
Leveling up.
Leveling up, all that's, you know, one-upping, basically like, oh, well, you didn't do this or whatever, you mean nothing, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you're not a...
But you know what's beautiful about this concept? We've been doing this since, August or so of 2023? And already, we just had a luncheon meeting with a Department of Defense representative just recently. And he was amazed at this concept. Well, the other people involved in that meeting, they were saying, you know what, we heard what's going on. The word of the American Veterans Alliance is getting out to the other veterans organizations. And they are saying, what an idea. They're already jumping on board. What can we do? And they're already, one guy that I spoke to was already saying to me, hey, you guys thinking about doing a mud run as a fundraiser? Well, I've never done a mud run before. We have.
Have you run before?
These Motor T, they drive everywhere.
boot camp, and that was
Age
it.
complete. Check that off the
Ladies and
list.
gentlemen, this is what I got to put up with all the time. I can never be
So
serious.
we've actually talked
Look at the
about
rabbit ears behind my...
we've actually talked about the mud run when I first met you guys.
Yes.
Which is a brilliant idea because I think that's a great event. A lot of people come from out of state to go to it.
But try to organize one if you don't know how to do
Well,
it. But now we're talking about people that say, hey, we've done mud runs.
Sure.
And we can give you resources.
Yeah.
We can show you how to do it. We'll help you
It's
do it.
always about the who and never about the how.
Right.
If you have the right who in your network, then you have a guy.
Yep.
It's a Chicago Italian thing.
Yep.
Two things I love about you guys the most. One is that you guys are always out for veterans to help other veterans, not just civilians to try to help. You know, as a civilian, we don't know the trauma. We don't know the brethren. We have our own little cliques and clubs, right? It's a little bit different. So I love the fact that you guys, and I even labeled this episode Veterans Helping Veterans. The second thing I like about it most is you have Jason. That's pretty much it. As a chef,
What,
as a
'cause you're
brother,
both- you're
as a
both
brother,
tall?
as a chef.
Chef, personal trainer. Well, I have to
Right.
recertify my personal trainer.
What I love, and the reason why I think, and Alyssa asked that question too, is I used to teach at a culinary school, and I know what it's like to be in a high volume productive kitchen and the chaos that goes with
Oh, yeah.
it. You feel almost like at home when you're there doing that versus it not being so stressful.
Or I want to slap the executive chef. 'Cause
Well, you know, if
Always.
if I want to say this, that regarding the business community, we at the American Veterans Alliance, first off, let me explain something. Now we have a bylaw system. We are registered with the IRS. We're a 501c3.
Okay.
We've got it together. Now we have a board. We have a director. We've got funding people. We got bankers. We got people that do legal stuff and et cetera. So now we have an organization. So we've established that. So, but now we need to go out because we can't fund this out of our own pockets. We don't have an income. We need to reach out to who? Philanthropy, business community, and so on. Now, in my personal experience in fundraising, what I find is that when I go and I approach a company or a business, in many cases, and I've hit many of them throughout our region, and I ask for their support, and I go to like a meeting, like a Chamber of Commerce type of thing. What can we do to help? What can we do to help? I hear a lot of that. And then when you get in front of their face, they go, well, you know, it's not in our budget. And so they don't tend to jump in. And that's not a criticism. It's just simply a reality. So, but what we need the business community to understand is that there are veterans out there that are seeking assistance. that are seeking that camaraderie. And bear in mind that those veterans are the same people that contribute really well to development, enhancement, and the patriotism of our society. It is a worthy cause to throw whatever money you can at this. Okay.
And the thing is, the concept that was developed, and we went to the 3 groups. We got some startup money, so we get the website going. But the thing is, we don't want the 3 groups to take what little money they have left. You know, some are better than others. But the concept is that we are not going to buy a building that's going to have a mortgage.
Right.
You know, we were told that there was in Crystal Lake, there was some type of food pantry that was developed last summer that in 7 weeks' time they raised $1.5 million. Well, if we had $1.5 million, that really changes the scope of what we can get.
Yep.
You know, right now that they're toying with, if we can get $500,000. Well, it depends. Depends on the facility. You know, the one building that they're looking at in Woodstock, well, buying the building right off the bat is going to be, half that money. But I think the renovation to make it form, fit, and function for what we need is going to probably cost double that money.
Of course.
Because it's a very old building and the layout and everything else. But that's just a pipe dream. But if we were able to raise $1.5 million, that really changes the scope of, what type of property that we get. Now, the reason for the non-for-profit part is because it's a 501c3. We can go in there and petition to get a tax exemption. That's a huge nut off the annual expense. One building we looked at, it was the old credit union that they had in McHenry. They wanted for $170,000 roughly. And what was great about it, it had security cameras already in it. It also had a walk-in safe, and we're like, that's where we're going to put our rifles. So it had the security for the weapons we have. It had security that was all tied in. Was it overly big? I think it was only 2,500 square feet. A good sized lot on the outside.
Yeah, but you start somewhere, right, Mike?
Yeah, it's a start.
You got to start. I mean,
Yeah.
look, we started in McHenry, right? With our studio now.
Right.
We got about 1,800 square feet to play with now, right? To build out other studios. Same thing. And your cost, and it always about the who, right? So now you find the right people that can help you do the right stuff to do so. So let me ask you this question real quick. If anybody is interested in being part of this, how do they get a hold of you about it?
Well, before answering that, I suppose, understand that this is not just a building. This is a service-oriented type of concept. This is not just a concept. This is something that you have a board of people right now and 3 separate organizations with a whole bunch of people that know how to do it. With multitudes of resources. We've got bankers, we've got planners, we've got project managers, etc. This is a cohesive organization. It's not frivolous. Okay.
Well, I think that for right now, because part of our board's process that we did the other day to make everything official, we also had a Zoom call with the lady that's doing our website.
Yeah.
So we do not have a website, but you know what? I have no problem. I get all kinds of goofy emails anyway. Is that if somebody wanted to get a hold of me, they can either go to ruffnermb@outlook.com right now until we get the website up.
Sure.
Or they can call me 847-370-4107. But if that's after 9 o'clock at night, 2100 for military, I ain't answering the damn call. All right. Regular business hours. But, speaking of business hours, one of the other things that we're talking about this building, and I talked to Mark from the Department of Defense last week, is that the problem with all the resources that are available for veterans is that when we're talking somebody of Jason's generation, now Jason doesn't have a wife and kids and everything else, but his peers do.
Not yet.
Yeah, or that we know of.
That you know. What's his name?
I don't want to know.
He'll never get that because he's too
Give that up.
But anyway, the problem with the VA and everybody else, and I told the guy, I says, you just got done going through Level. I says, who do you see over there at Level? Almost all old people. You'll see young people, that's only because they're active duty military, but you don't see younger veterans in there. I says, because you guys got a 9-to-5 job. And guess what? They're 9 to 5, they're at a job. They got a wife and kids and sporting events to go to and everything else. You don't have anything in the evening where they can go get their stuff without taking time off of work. So our concept is to kind of bridge everything that doesn't get done, make that happen.
You know, we have somebody here,
Yeah, I wanna give a
Ted Legal.
Quick shout out.
Good shout out. Thank you. He's sharing out this information already. And he also states here, I would suggest raising it through donations or a Kickstarter account. So that's a suggestion. We're listening. And he also called me. I have resources that'll help as well. Awesome. He
Don't
leaves
say
his
his
phone
number,
number.
okay?
So
We don't want to put his number up on the screen.
Go ahead, put his number up on the
There you
screen.
go, Dad.
He's a banker, isn't he? He needs hey, we're not all about you not making money.
you know, and but he goes, my company, Legal Legacy Home and Business Services, would like to do something to help the veterans out of McHenry County. He calls me and he leaves his phone number. He goes, talk about if we can help. Bye, George. We will be in touch, sir.
Thank you, Ted.
And thank you so much for that input. And we're encouraging other companies to do exactly the same thing. You know, help us out, because helping us is going to be also helping our community. It's going to help you. There is a return on that investment. Trust me. You know, and I hate it when people say trust me, because it sounds like a crook.
Sounds like
Well, when you guys find your spot,
We did. We earned it.
let me know. I can do everything from insure it, to put bodies in it, to have it cabled, to insuring the bodies, to insuring the general liability, the security. We do web design. We do everything on DCCS. So I have a vetted network on the back end. A lot of them are actually veterans.
Well, we're not the only ones making those decisions. We're just part of an overall board. So
I'm
we
just
got to discuss
he's,
telling you.
he's putting the offer
I'm
out.
just
The
putting
offer's
the offer
there.
on the table. That's
Gotcha.
what I'm doing.
So we'll put that on the list.
I don't expect you to. I know you don't make decisions. You go home, your wife makes decisions. You go to the group, the board makes decisions.
You met Laura.
Same one. I make
got
decisions anytime.
I got this.
Are you related to her?
No, but I have one too. You guys can pretend. She nods her head a lot. Oh, huh? Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah,
Then we
yeah.
end up doing it our way.
Oh yeah, sure you're gonna do that. Okay, get your ass over here.
But yeah, the thing is, what's neat about it is that everybody else is starting to hear about us. We're not spending a whole lot of time talking about it. This is like the first official time we're being public about
Right.
this event. We're
We're announcing it right now for the first time. To the
because
public.
we want to wait till the board wasn't. Well, people knew before we even got to the point when we had the final board selection. People want to know what we're doing. One of the guidance is that we want to make sure we take our time, we do it right, so it can be replicated by somebody else. You know, we got a group in Crystal Lake area that are very excited about what we're doing, and we're not going to invite them in to see what's going on yet, because we're still going through our growing pains at first. Before, because we don't want them to turn around, grab what we have, and then they wind up doing it wrong. We want something that all 50 states can do this, you know, because every veterans post has some type of problem going on. Most of the time is for poor management. When you get a bunch of you know, older vets that don't know anything about business, and they have a bar, and they got to realize that no, everybody does not drink for free. And there's laws, the DRAM laws, insurance, the liabilities, and then guess what? That roof needs to be checked and replaced once in a while, tuck pointing. But when they blow that stuff off, it all culminates to the point where they can't afford it and they lose it.
And the fact that, you know, with some organizations where the bar to them is the most important thing, I'm like, the last thing you need to be doing is drinking. And one of the reasons why the recruitment in some of these organizations are suffering is because some of these guys, they may have drinking problems and stuff, but they don't want to keep enforcing that on their own, causing their own life problems. But also the whole trauma bonding thing. It's like, that's not a healthy way, you know, to get together, you know, go to a bar, talk about all of our trauma that happened in the past and all that stuff. Past is past. You go to resources to help overcome that and let that go. It may not be 100%, but that's just the way life is. I haven't drank in over 12 years, and the last thing I like doing is trauma bonding. Because then after a while, you start getting comfortable in that, and a part of you starts liking that rush too, and that's very unhealthy. So there's younger guys where like they've even mentioned like, doing booze raffles, fine, whatever. But like for younger people with combat PTSD and stuff, is that the thing
That
that
you're
you're
not going to
doing.
go to.
You know, and most people that we speak to these days, it's kind of odd. You know, you talk to the older generation, hey, we need a bar to sit around. The newer generation, they tend to think, probably out of training or out of counseling, maybe their military experience. They're more wise than we were in my generation. They say that, hey, you know, we don't want to go to a bar. So the emphasis on the American Veterans Alliance is service orientation. It's service oriented, and it is a place to feel for families and veterans themselves and alike, and the people in the community can feel safe and have a really good place to go to seek out and obtain the services that you might need.
Yeah. See, y'all better have like a fire ring there, right? I mean, everybody loves to sit around a fire,
Absolutely.
right? That's where a lot of good stories roll
We can
out
do it
to.
inside the buildings.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. You know, what throws me is it's pretty exciting. And you guys are all Marines, and y'all don't get too damn excited. It's like, yeah, no, we're doing it. It's an incredible thing that you guys are doing. And I'm a dreamer, a content builder, and I like wear my emotions on my sleeve. And you veterans are like, nope, we're not going to get excited. That's right. You know, and because this is groundbreaking. It's huge.
It is.
Look at the following that you already have. The people who are like, I absolutely love this idea. And you guys are sitting here like at a martini bar smoking cigarettes.
You know, I should have brought the cigars. But you know what's neat about
You know
it?
what I mean?
On our board, I'm the chairman, and then Lou Ness is.
Oh, Lou, yeah.
She is the senior vice chairman, or
Right. Senior Vice Chair.
yeah.
But anyway,
chairperson.
she's on the county board.
Yep, she's good.
She's an Army veteran, and then we have a couple Army, couple Air Force, one Navy, and there's 4 Marines on the board. So it's pretty balanced with the different personalities to represent the organizations. But
No Space Force?
no,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they got discharged yet.
I don't even think they have the veteran
yet.
section yet for the Space Force.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
We're not recognizing them. they're out in space.
No, we can't talk
No
like
Coast
that.
Guard?
Live long and prosper.
It's
You know,
like-
it's kind of hard to find somebody in the Coast Guard. You know, they got one Coast Guard recruiter for the whole state of Illinois.
Oh my God.
So when it's you know what's the next step? We understand fundraising, right?
Okay, so
what's the next step in this dream, in this journey?
So our first one is really considered a soft fundraiser, and that's going to be the Super Bowl party on February 11th.
Yeah.
And doors open at 4. It's going to be a potluck situation to keep costs down, and then the money we get from that is intent to get the marketing materials. And then after that, we're looking to go into probably a mail campaign with our membership, as we're getting the
MAIL.
right.
Yeah.
So we're building up funds to do one to get the other, and then we're hoping sometime during the spring to start going after corporate sponsorship for this event. So we want to
Yeah.
think.
So I mean, here's the important thing, and this is what I love about what you guys are doing. You got a plan, and we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. But if people are just tuning in now, it's not 3 guys who are like, "Hey, let's go get a garage."
Let's do a GoFundMe.
We don't do that.
Yeah, right. And
We're doers.
and so I mean, I love that's happening now. If you can't be at that fundraiser on the 11th, where can they go to buy tickets or squares, or how do they donate to you? We got a ton of listeners. Where do they go to throw money at you?
Well, I'll tell you what, if they want to, like, for example, part of our fundraising is a football pool. So we have a football pool diagram already on our website, which is located at the McHenry County MCL, Michael Charlie Lima, .com. And so that's Marine Corps League.
Yep.
So McHenry County Marine Corps League.com. Follow the events page and so forth. It'll get you to the what we're referring it to as the Super Bowl Bash.
Yeah.
And then now go down and take a look at the links. And one of them will get you to join on Eventbrite. You can join and actually say, hey, we're going to be there.
Nice.
That gives us a body count
Yep.
in advance, so we know how much food to bring. So, and then the other one is a link to the actual football pool diagram where you can select your spot and so forth, your squares. And I think the squares are about $11.
Well,
because they-
after, yeah.
yeah, after the PayPal charges and all that.
11th.
And then you can win up to, what is it?
Well, I don't know what, before we go that, I don't know what Breslin did.
Yeah. So we go and take a
So
look.
you can win money as
Yeah.
well.
You can win. Yeah, you're going to. Yeah, you're going to probably.
Each quarter, you got
Yeah.
the first, second, third, and final score. So whoever those people are with those numbers will
Yeah.
win something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now we're going to have some
them
more
what
of
they
these
won,
pools at the meeting itself, hard copies at the function itself for
Yeah.
people that didn't go online. Well, you can still win.
Yeah.
So we're going to still and we're going to do draws. Like a 50-50 type of draw and those type of things. So
Yeah,
it's a fundraiser, but on the same token, hey, there's going to be a huge. I think Mike said it's like a 150-inch TV. It's huge television that he's bringing, and he's got a projector,
Yeah.
and we've got TVs around this bar. The bar is going to be open, and we're going to have food there. So well, I think you're going to donate something too, aren't you?
I
You're
am.
going to make a. I don't know.
Brisket.
I'm gonna make a brisket.
You're going to make a brisket,
Yep.
and if you've never had.
Maybe
Brisket's good.
I'll slice in front of you too.
If you've never had Jason's brisket,
Amazing.
then you're missing out on a religious experience. I'll put it that way.
Always feeling that. I need you.
because we don't have any.
Oh, I took a
man.
couple of his things. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Jason's meat is juicy.
He made one time, and he says,
wrong.
"Here, come on over here, Rick. Let me slice you
I'll
off
leave
a
that one
piece."
alone.
And I wrapped that
Oh, that
meat
was
around
that
my
Jeff,
laughing gear.
Yeah.
Jeff Bruce's thing.
That was at Jeff Bruce's function, and he cuts off the slice, and he goes, "Here, just try a piece of that." And
It was
I
one of the burnt ends.
I wrapped that in my
really?
around my
Yeah,
laughing
Jesus.
gear, and I'm telling you, it was like
Your toes curl.
oh my god, I
Yeah.
floated like that.
I need you,
You know,
to
that
go on
cartoon
Facebook
character.
and say his brisket is like a religious experience.
All right.
It's awesome. So we're gonna have
Praise
that.
the brisket.
So we're gonna have that kind of quality of food there,
Yeah.
and my wife is gonna make a what I call an orange salad. If you've never had an orange salad, then you've never had a salad. This one blows away all salads.
It's
I don't care who
orange.
they are, Greek or whatever, blows them all away. It's the favorite salad
Little
within
peanut
everybody
and
that's
salad.
Greeks, folks. He's
That's
just
right.
saying, you know,
So, but anyway, this thing is going to be a lot of activity, a lot of fun, a few games here and there, and it's a fundraiser, so come and have fun.
You know, I think I'll donate a pork shoulder. too.
See, there's the man right
A
there.
Porsche?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I got money flowing out of my ass. Not a pork shoulder.
Pork shoulder. Oh. All right.
Oh,
Sure, no
man.
problem.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
the thing is, we've never done a Super Bowl party. We were
Right.
trying to get the VFW for years
Yeah.
to do something like that. We would partner with them, and of course, Super Bowl comes, Super Bowl goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this year we're doing it because we now have a specific purpose that everybody gets bought into it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we're not involving a group that says, we'll talk about it later.
And for legal
doers.
disclaimers, it's a party on the day the Super Bowl is held because the Super Bowl is copyrighted and whatnot. So we can't
Right.
call it
Yeah,
a
circle with the little C.
RC
in there.
thing. Right. So we can't really call it a, you know.
And it's open to
It's a
everybody.
pigskin
We're
party.
encouraging family, friends, and
Oh, yeah.
neighbors. We just don't want the members to show up.
Right.
My wife's excited about it. She saw his thing and she go, "Oh yeah, we got to go." And I explained to her what it was.
Yeah.
Now she really wants to go because she's good about giving away money.
There you go. That's it.
Well, the other thing too, I don't know if you mentioned it, but it starts at 4 p.m. local time, and that's the Chicago time. And so,
Yeah, because wherever people are listening, it's their local.
yes, it's so based on that proposition, if you're in a local area, by George, show up. You're gonna have a good time. And at the same time, if you can't make it, go at McHenryCountyMCL.com, follow those links,
Yeah.
and play those squares, because each dollar that we make goes towards the American Veterans Alliance. And he goes, Ted Legal says,
Yeah.
I can do all of that for only cost of materials for you. I run an advertising network marketing company, Legal Legacy Home and Business Services. And where is it located? This is located at Kent is going to throw this up on the 216 the net item there to show where we're how to find us through the link. And Mike, where is this located? The actual event?
240 North Throop Street in Woodstock.
Right, Woodstock,
if-
Illinois.
And the thing is, what's neat, because we're, Rob and Peter paid Paul to make this happen, and our AVA, American Veterans Alliance website is not ready. We partnered with the Marine Corps League because we do have a website and we do have the strings attached for the funds. And our detachment is not doing anything right now that's going to cause any type of conflict.
Right.
We're kind of in between, a lull between our fundraising season and Marine Corps Ball. So we have a few months to play with. So even if you don't want to get tickets and you can't make it, you can go to that website and make a donation. There's a donation button on the Marine Corps League website. And then when they have a comment section, tell them that you're making a donation to AVA.
Yeah, I think the VFW over there.
The Ted's thing, yes, it is handicapped.
Yep.
accessible.
Yep. Right, and the party is being held at the Woodstock
VFW.
VFW.
The
In
old,
the historic square.
And
Yep.
yeah, just off the
Groundhog
yeah.
Day.
Yeah, right.
right.
Yeah, that's the underground bar. Is that right?
No, yeah.
Well,
goes
it's-
down
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
for tornadoes.
They
Yeah.
can't miss it.
yeah. Under the real estate.
It's a bump.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's not. It's a beautiful place, and yeah, it is. Yeah, you can get right down in there. It's nice.
right.
If not, Ted, they can push you down the stairs. Don't worry.
Yep.
So as everybody can tell,
I love it.
we're not only excited about this entire concept,
Yeah.
we're not only excited about this facility, but we are in. We're in it to win it. And so we are reaching out to the philanthropists that are out there, those who care for other human beings, those who care for veterans. We're reaching out to patriots. We're reaching out to the corporate community, no matter what size, small, large, medium. We're reaching out to everybody. We need your help in order to make this thing happen, because we can't afford to do it on our own. And we need you. We need your business assistance
Yep.
and your involvement. And it's not one of those, we can't put it in the budget. Look, I don't care if it's $20. We'll take it. If it's $500, we'll take it. If it's $50,000, by George, thank you so much. God bless you. We're going to take it. And we're going to do something with it. So we need your help. And that's what we're here for right now. We're making this announcement to reach out to you. Please give us a hand, because this is going to be really an awesome event. And there's a payback for you.
Yeah. Ted just said, when I said, if not, they'll just push you down the stairs. And he said, yeah, and of course, Kent, you'll be at the bottom to catch me, right?
Just slide up down the stairs.
Yeah, and what's really, different veterans organizations operate differently, and I like our group because we can talk about it, decide we're going to do it, and make it happen.
Get her done.
Some organizations, they'll talk about it, and they'll do it again next month,
Yep.
and a year later, still nothing
And
happened.
then they'll form a committee.
Right.
2 years later.
But with our committee we have here, it's like, we don't have time to screw around.
GSD,
We got time.
getting shit done.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
That's it.
All right. Well, it's about getting that time there. So, if you like what you hear, please like, share, subscribe through YouTube, which is one of the ways. Hit the like button. I think I just said that. And hit the bell notification for future videos on YouTube. Also, check us out on Apple, Twitch, Twitter, Spotify. I think I hit them all.
Yeah.
And we want to thank our producers, 216 The Net, Kent Jones, and Drew Pistachio, Cassio,
Machiavelli. And once again, thank you for joining us on Roger That Chronicles. This is a program that we take very seriously, and this is one of the ways that we use it. And so come back and see us again. Our next show, I believe, is on
Couple weeks
the
from now.
8th.
Yep.
The 8th, Thursday, the 8th of February. So,
You're a funny man.
what?
You said we take this seriously?
He does, but
I take it seriously, but I can't.
They're just along in your shadow, buddy.
Is that what it is?
we're
No, thank you.
this is your show, actually.
But for you listeners out there,
Scott show.
Yep.
we want to encourage all veterans to find a veterans home, not a home, but find a group to hang out with, whether it's AMVETS, Marine Corps League, Navy League, Fleet Reserve Association, VFW, Polish Legion.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of veterans groups out there. Find one that you feel comfortable with. That's the key.
Yep.
Semper Fi.
See you next.